Oh, I see the chat receiving some comments in the chat, so I'll keep an eye on that in case the stream breaks down or anything. But you know, with the whole information going through might just break apart, so we'll continue anyway in here. Thank you all for coming. It's best to see everyone face to face, and this time we'll prioritize to have a discussion here rather than having bridges over to chat in addition. And it's still kind of a mere meeting because we did ask to post the topics of today's what we could discuss here as birds of feather. So there was one topic. I will not waste more time. It was by Dylan.
Hi.
Hello. And yeah, questions about Qt 4.9. What a surprise! So if you could just go through that to you know, so everyone is up to speed.
Well,
it's yeah.
I was wondering what's the status of Qt 5.9, since it's very important for developers to have an up-to-date system. There are some blocks that they have in the past, but I don't know what the current status is, so that was my question.
So we can swap. I'll bring our program manager Vesco here.
Yeah. So there's basically two things in upgrading the Qt version. First is like the licensing question. So Qt 5.9 is under GPL version 3, and that's a change. We have not had GPL version 3 components in Selfish OS so far, and we need to go through with all the partners that we are licensing this asset and see if they are okay with this license change, or they have an option to go with the commercial license and then see if they are okay with the commercial license. We've been through these discussions now and have kind of are now presenting the final discussions like coming weeks with the partners to agree on what's the solution forward, and then that sorts out the legal and commercial issue we are having here. And then we have the technical side of the things.
The options we had was together.yolo.com to use this as an issue tracker. It's been tried to be done like this already. And we do mention in release notes which answer has been fixed and released, and we have a little tracker label there. The other thing would be wiki. It's not so much for the issue tracking, but it's still a place for community to express themselves. You know, gather the cheat sheet, all sorts of snippets there, and structurize things. But if we stick to bugs to bug tracking, what do you guys think would work here? And I'll say that it's hard to have two bugzillas, one internal, one external, but trying to mediate that and then try to persuade my colleagues to create two bugs, one internally, and link them. We have all the measures to do that, all instrumentation, but it's just time consuming, and many people still don't adopt this process. So what solutions would you have for bug tracking? Let's say GitLab, or what do you think cons and pros are? Yeah.
So I don't mind continue with the Bugzilla. And if you have references to the internal Bugzilla, someone knows about the internal one. So that one who added it should also close it if it's closed, I think, because in my opinion, it is better that the reference is there than it's not there. Because
certainly,
we know there is something.
We must have, by due to our continuous integration requirements, that there must be a reference, but it doesn't really necessarily have to be on the main commit line. It could be hidden somewhere in the description, and then it's less visible. There's less noisy there. So we should still have the references of bugs, whether internal or external. Our bot integration will pick that up.
Okay. Yeah, but otherwise I don't mind using GitLab either. It's completely fine, but I'm happy with Bugzilla.
So you'd want to continue with the way the current Bugzilla is, the mer Bugzilla. Yeah.
So with GitLab you can make issues confidential, and then you have one instance of GitLab, and then you if you want to keep it internal, you just mark it as confidential, and if you decide that it should be actually open, then you can just remove that and it's open. Then so you'll have one tool, and then you have one reference for the same bug, and you put it in the commit log and stuff, and it's the same reference, which is valid forever.
So certain comments in the GitLab would be confidential and would be able to be read by only a certain group of people.
You can mark the whole issue confidential.
The whole issue.
Yeah, so you can keep it with you, and it will be in the same instance. So I think that's very much possible already.
Okay, so you're offering for us to nuke our internal Bugzilla and external, and just use GitLab.
Yeah.
By differentiating with the private ones that only us want to see.
It will be much simpler.
It would be less instances indeed. It's just the chances of us even prodding our internal Bugzilla is so massive and it's used for everything.
And you have already imported scripts written by GNOME folks to import off your existing bugs to GitLab and stuff.
Okay. So, right. Yeah. Okay.
So you don't have to create two issues in different Bugzillas. So it might be.
The issues of still, if you, for example, when I have an issue that starts off a customer, but I know the issue is not specific to the customer, and in the customer issue I have the conversation with the customer, and it's still separate, but the issue is separate, so I have to make still two issues.
That's right.
I just have to link the old issue with the new issue which is open, and the open issue that is the issue that should be linked in the bug in the release notes, and not the internal one. I think there are many internal issues that are just customer issues and ways bugs. But I saw that Mozilla also, I think Mozilla used Bugzilla, and I don't know if they're still using it, but they also support confidential issues.
Right.
So maybe a new version of Bugzilla would be also fine. If it would be possible.
Well, in internal one, we can mark our comment as private, for example, for a customer not to see if we have internal discussion, just within the conversation. So, indeed, and it depends also. We should probably concentrate on the trivial bugs that are not multifaceted and not multi-dependent. So essentially, for community, you should be on open source components, Sailfish Core, soon to be renamed. One bug should be per one component. That's ideal, because if the bug starts to branch out and affect others, there are such bugs obviously in quite a few, then it's hard again for community to chip in if they touch closed source components, or if again customer confidentiality is concerned, and sometimes the bug is really dependent on others that can't be public, and that's the trick. But just to start things somewhere, we should concentrate on really bugs that address one issue in one component, which is open source. Then really this way community Bugzilla could benefit, because like I said, either the process of the bug or even the actual implementation of the bug could be held by any one of you like that. Still would take some training for the internal for my colleagues to use too. Like you said, it's just always a trouble to create two clones, but that should be also automated. We have a great guy inside it who've done lots of linking between the two Bugzillas.
Maybe it's just a semantic thing, but I don't think when you make a public and a customer bug or something that's confidential, always be a clone. You can't. Maybe I'm just optimistic, but can't you just separate the non-confidential part and make a different bug for the non-confidential part and reference to the non-confidential bug into confidential bug?
Yeah.
If you separate the issue, I think that the issue is two issues.
I think that would be much way too overhead to do that. I mean,
yeah,
you can hire someone just to do that, to make a bug like public.
Yes, the rate of squashing bugs is so fast in the company that even currently cloning a bug into MER is an overhead already. Yeah. This is how we need to still somehow address that.
But I think I know you're right. But when I want someone to cooperate, for example, you said me that when you want to commit a MER, you have to make a MER bug, and I make it, and but I hated it at first, but when I look in the issues or in the changes that others did,
Yeah.
I can follow the changes. So if you want to cooperate,
It's called change management.
yeah.
But what is the thing if you going to renew or change the mirror bugs? Did I provide there a review of all the open bugs, because there are a lot of really old stuff in it.
Oh,
the
the
14 which is untouched, and I think it's maybe even obsolete right now.
triage. Yeah, well, probably we'll just have a look at those bugs and decide then. Have a quick skim. Maybe we can something that.
The good thing we noticed the other day is that
Alright, should be streaming again.
the package that comes with
They have 64